Satnam! Yogis and yoginis, welcome back to the channel one more time. This is the third part, if we count the introduction of the Mul Mantra course. We're going to go into Ong today. Let's chant one time the whole mantra to tune in with the Mul Mantra. Inhale. Ek Onkar Satnam Kartaparak Nirbho Nirvair Akal Murat Ajuni Sai Bhangur Prasad Jap At Sachukat Sach Heavy Sach Nanak Hosi Bi Sach. And we're going to go with the Ong, the sound of Ong today. The second part, the second word in the mantra, and we're going to explore it meditatively to find the principles, the virtues, and the virus associated with it. So let's begin chanting a little bit of Ong. Om. And as you chant it, just experience how you are feeling, how does it affect you. And imagine there is nothing else, there is just the sound of the Ong. Let's try a bit quicker. Ong, 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 Ong. Let's explore also coming from the ek. Ek Om. Ek Om. Ek Om. Ek The car wants to come, yeah? Ek Onkar. The car is right at the tip of the tongue. You want to go into it. But yeah, if for the sake of the video, we're going to just do this a few minutes. But if you want to do this exploration by yourself, I encourage you to chant it for 10 minutes or something like that, 11 minutes. And then try to find how does it feel and what's coming out of it. I've been meditating on for a few weeks now, and we're gonna talk about the conclusions that I got out of these meditations and how it feels. But you feel free to stop the video if you want right now and then chant for 11 minutes and then come back to the video. So Ong, Ong, it's long, yeah? Ong is very long. How different from the ek, which was like ek, small and short and contracting, yeah? Ek, Ong, Ong wants to go long into the time, yeah? A long time. Ik was like an instant, a contraction, when there was nothing else in the universe. Ik, and then Ong, yeah? Now the Ong is the the explosion of sound, the expansiveness of sound, how now things are beginning to manifest. With ik, it was like this impact. You may remember from the last video that we had, the sword impacting the 5, the 0, and becoming the etherquake, yeah? And from there, everything happening, yeah? So the ik is the impact, the crack that it creates. And then the ong is what comes after that. So ong wants to be long. Ik is contracting. Ong is expanding, yeah? And so already, because when the ek came, there was nothing else. Then ek happened, and then ong comes after that. Ong is the second part, is the second point, and it's about number 2, yeah? And it appears as a second thing. Before there was nothing, now there is something. So there's already 2 things, yeah? And so there's gonna be a connection with the number 2. This is how we are gonna approach it. But let's explore first the sound of ong, how it appears in the words long and longing, yeah? Longing for something. And there is a little bit of sadness to the sound of ong. Ong, there's a certain sadness there, yeah? A longing. So some emotions are beginning to appear. We can see ong, the word ong, or the sounds of ong, you can find it in words like anger and anguish. Yeah, so there is emotions coming up. Some are going to be more pure than others, but the emotions are definitely arising. So we are talking about the creation of the universe, but we're also about how, the microcosm, yeah? What is happening outside is happening inside. So there is some, in this second aspect of the ong, there is emotions flowing within us. Ong and gong, yeah, the playing of the gong, how we use it so often in meditations, and how the gong creates all these vibrations, all these waves of vibration. We're going to see how is that connected to the ong itself. And then ong is in tongue, in our tongue, in our songs. When we are singing, yeah, we chant all these mantras, and it's our voice, and it's so connected to the number 5 that we had this 5 here, and 5 is the throat. So sound in the beginning was the word is with God, yeah, God is God, yeah. So now we're coming into the ong with the G of the God, and then there is this 5 very active, yeah. 5 is behind, and 5 is throughout the path of ek, ong, kar. The 5 is going to be there, the throat is going to be there, the words are going to be there. There is a very strong connection between the 5 and the 2, between the ong and whatever is connected to the 5. We're going to see this slowly through a number of drawings and diagrams, which I like to do. Ong, we find it in the Big Bang, yeah, the Big Bang, ong, this theory of physics, physicists, about the creation of the universe. And I should say theory, but it has been demonstrated quite a lot that there was an explosion, and then there is an expansion, yeah, of this vibration. It's a matter of vibration. Everything in the universe is vibrating. See, if everything is vibrating, then that vibration is sound. So ong is that vibration, and the Big Bang has that ung feeling to it. So the ong is like the resonance of the vibration that comes after the big explosion of the Big Bang. Yeah, Big Bang. Yeah, big is like ek, bang is like ong. Big Bang, ek, ong. That's a funny connection. I had not seen it before, but I just found it right now. That's interesting. No, big ek, bang, ong. Yeah, very interesting. So there is this ong, and then there is this anguish and longing and anger and emotions flowing and coming and going. And if you remember, we were talking in the ek about the echo, yeah? how ek cannot be an echo because it's the beginning of something unless everything has already happened and we are just starting a new universe again. But in the ik is the pure contraction, and the ik ong, the o of the ong begins the echo, yeah, which means that the sound that is coming out is going to come back. And so that's going to be like a wave of going out and coming back. And we're going to see more on these waves. So let's explore a little bit about this thing that we were doing the last time on the little pebble from the ek. Yeah, you remember the ek on car? Yeah, the ek. We were taking like a little pebble falling into falling into water, like Guru Nanak bathing in the river. Yeah. And as the water hits, as the pebble, the rock, hits the water, then that's the ik, yeah? So let's continue that little story today and see what happens after ik. What happens when the rock, after the rock touches the water? Let's see. So the last thing we found was when there was like a little, there was going to be a splash, not yet, yeah, but there was going to be a splash of the pebble coming inwards. This was the ik. Yeah? Sometimes you write it ek, sometimes we write it ik like this. It doesn't matter because the important is how you pronounce it, but there is no real exact vowels in English between these two vowels. The sound is ik, yeah? It doesn't matter how you write it like this or like this, so you may see ekonkar or ikonkar is the same. But the rock has touched the water now. Now, if a rock touches the water, the surface of the water is gonna bend down. We're gonna do a little meditation on this. Now, this is pushing down. If let's say the bottom of the river is here, yeah. Well, if the water has been coming down and pushes down, the water is not going to be compressed. So water is going to come out. So you're going to have to raise, yeah, in both sides, yeah. So you can see how as the pebble hits, there is a little. This is a little bit too much. I put too much wave here. Yeah, it would be something softer, and this would be higher, something like this. Yeah. But this would be the water. This is the initial impact. Yeah, and so let's draw this side again. There's a little, that's better. Yeah. Looks like some lips. Yeah. Okay, so the water, the rock comes, and some water is gonna be pushed to the side, and it's gonna be moved in this direction. Yeah. But now, as the rock is coming down, he's creating a void behind. So this is a void. And nature doesn't like voids. And so something is going to come in to fill this void. It's going to go in this direction towards the void, yeah? Some water is going to come to fill the void. So you can see there is a movement of the water coming out and a movement of the water coming in. There's going to be a double direction of this. And if we followed a few seconds later, you would have the wave is now moving along. So you have the wave is moving along like that. But then this thing that was coming down, because of all the water that was coming in, now rises up. Zoop. The rock comes down. This wave continues to move, but now water has come up. Yes? This will make sense in a moment, okay? At the moment, it's just like a meditation. I was just reflecting what happens when a rock hits the surface, yeah? But I believe it will make sense. Now, if we continue this drawing even a little bit more, the wave has gone even farther. But now, this water that was coming up, the center of the force of this water, which is aligned with the pebble down there, is going to go higher because it has this force of the water coming in, and it will become like a little drop of water. This is made of water. Yeah? It looks very dark, but it's blue. Yeah, and then the surface is going to be coming down. Yeah, because not all the water can go higher because of gravity. So the rest of the water comes down, and there's a little drop of water going up. And look, this is a mirror of this. This is a mirror of this. And this water that is coming down will itself have also the effect of creating another wave, apart from this big one. And therefore also some water will come in again. So if we look at it a bit later, we're going to have a big wave and a second wave that is this one coming out, yeah? Because of the emptiness, like this. And the little, not the rock, but the drop of water will now start to come down. We see this in advertisements, when they want to sell creams for the face. You can see sometimes they put a drop of water and then, a drop of the cream, and they makes this beautiful drop coming out very, very perfectly. And look, this is the echo, yeah? This is the ek hit. The waves begin in one direction and the other. So there is this polarity of waves, and then there is an echo coming down. That echo is interesting because the G of O and G, we can go back here. In O and G, the G, it's a guttural sound, like the K. So guttural sound means that it's produced in the throat, guttural, yeah? So this is a memory of this one. This is like the echo of this one. So the G in the number 2, in the second step, in the Ong, it's like a memory of the Ek. It's like the second wave of the Ek. And we're going to see this again and again throughout the whole mantra, how one sound repeats and repeats, and it has an echo, yeah, and it's another wave coming out of it. In any case, waves, yeah? Waves and movement and going and coming back. And we see connected to this the void. We've seen this void that the rock was leaving behind, that then all these forces of water are coming to fill it in. Also interesting how we are associating it to water, yeah? This is the metaphor we have used, but Ek is like a rock, and Ong is the waves that are coming out. Waves are water, and waves are emotion, waves of emotion. Any emotion has waves, even anger, which is more fiery in principle, like the element of fire, anger, but it comes in waves, a wave of anger. So all emotions come in form of waves. And we were talking about how the Ong, some emotions are going to be more pure than others, because the water can be pure, transparent, or it can be dirty, or it can be stained by some maybe ink or something. No? It can be colored by some other colors. But the water by itself is pure. So Ong by itself is pure. And the longing, which is the most clear sound coming from the ong, yeah, of all the emotions, even anguish. Anguish is already colored, but the longing, that's going to be pure. And we find that in the expression of the gurus when they are chanting the Shabbats, how often they are expressing that longing, and they are maybe crying as they are singing the longing, yeah? The longing is an expression of their devotion, yeah? From the motion into the devotion. We're going to see more about this in a minute. But yeah, Ong is water, and it's the second element. It's not a coincidence, yeah? In the physical body, we go from the first chakra to the second. From the first chakra, we're associated to the element of earth, to the second associated with water. So we're moving from the earth into the water. And the one goes into the water, yeah, like Guru Nanak into the water, yeah. He was doing this, submerging himself into the water, into the waves, into the Ong, yeah. Okay. So there is a void in there, and there is also a feeling of the void, yeah. There is these currents which happen, which are coming in to fill in the void. And that feeling of the void is going to create like a shadow of it, yeah? There's like a light and a shadow. There's a mirroring of this. And this mirroring is going to remind us again of that drawing that we were doing, you remember? With the 5, and there is the yin and the yang. So there is this mirroring, but opposite, yeah? The square becomes round, the light becomes dark, the light becomes dark, and there is this mirroring of the two images. So from the one comes the two. From the one unified consciousness comes yin and the yang, comes Purusha Prakriti, comes Shiva Shakti, comes masculine feminine, comes positive negative, comes all the polarities, all the different aspects which are two things. They come from this one, and when they go into the two, we're already in the Ong. So this is coming into the Ong, the yin yang. We can see the very expression of the word yin yang reflecting that. So we would see. So we see here again the Ong, yeah, and that reflects that there is a polarity. We can see the polarity in many ways. In this we were seeing like some forces pushing outwards, some forces coming inwards, some forces going up, some forces going down. There's always this polarity in both things. We cannot go in one direction without wanting to go in the other. So that's we can see this with 2 points very easily. Ek is 1 point, yeah? But now we have Ong, we have 2 points. So if Guru Nanak, instead of the Mul Mantra, would have been saying the numbers, he would say, Ek, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, yeah? So imagine that he did that. But he said Ek Onkar. Yes, Ong was actually this. It's actually 2 points. And what happens when we have 2 points? Before there was only one, yeah? One rock, one pebble. Now we have 2. Forget about this one, yeah? Now we have only 2. Imagine there's nothing else in the universe but 2 points. Well, in order for the one to become 2, he has separated, yeah? And that has created a void. And the 2 points are going to feel like there is some forces of repulsion, yeah? Because the one has become 2. So as soon as we have 2 elements, there is this repulsion energy or force, let's say, and then there is some attraction as well. Because in some ways, these 2 points, they don't feel complete. Because they feel this one needs this one. No, it's like 2 people, yeah, in a couple, and then you separate, and it doesn't matter how far in distance they are. The separation feels infinite. If you are separated from your beloved, yeah, they may be around the corner buying something in the store, but your feeling of emptiness, the void, is infinite. Yeah, infinite is a very interesting number. That's number 8, but it's very connected to the 2, and we will see how it's connected to the Ong as well. But there is infinite void happening here, yeah? So this one without this one does not feel complete, and this one without this one does not feel complete, so they want to go together, yeah? But then when they are too much together, there is conflict, so they need to separate as well. So there is this constant pushing and pulling, like coming in and going out, and there is this tension between the two. Into humans, into, in a couple, we would call that sexual tension, yeah? But this kind of tension happens with anybody, with any person, and it happens also between us and the universe, us and the divine. So there is this constant pushing and pulling, tension with it. There's like a play, yeah, like a game that we play with it. But that's what we do afterwards. We play with that tension. But initially, in the Ong, simply we feel that tension. So Ek, Ong, and let's chant Ong again and see if you can experience that tension. Feel that experience of tension in the Ong. There is a pain, there is like, God, why have you forsaken me? This kind of feeling. There is this, why am I separate from the universe? Why am I separate from God? Why am I separate from even my own soul? Yeah? How did I come here? How did this come about? That I am here separated in the void, in the emptiness, in the loneliness, yeah? And that pain, that can be a suffering and an anguish and a source of problems if we see it as something wrong. Wrong finishes with a G, yeah? But you see, in the 2, in the Ong, it's just a polarity. Is when we bring the R of car, yeah? Ek, Ong, car, yeah? This is Ek, Ong. It's when we come into the car. We're going to see about car the following video. But this is where the R comes in. And something that was purely a polarity, like yin and yang, yeah? Now with the R becomes right and wrong. So we're going to see how right and wrong are going to come in when we go into the R. But in itself, in the Ong, is just pure longing. And this is why in the beginning of Kundalini yoga classes, we chant Om Namo Guru Dev Namo. Om Namo Guru Dev Namo. Om Namo Guru Dev Namo. Namo, I call Guru Dev, I call the Divine Guru. Om Namo, I call the Ong. I'm calling on the Ong, I'm calling on my longing, and I'm calling my own emptiness, and I'm looking for Gurudev, yeah, and so I call Gurudev with my longing. And that's the beginning of yoga class, because we want to tune in to our emotion and transform it into devotion. We don't want to avoid emotions. We don't want to put them down or suppress them. We want to feel them and transform them. And the very end of a class in a Kundalini yoga, we chant another song, really, mantra, in this case in English, that is also very much connected with the sound of Ong. Look. May the long time sun shine upon you, all laws surround you, and the pure light within you. Guide your way on, guide your way on, guide your way on. Yeah, isn't it? It's on. So actually, when we translate it to other languages, we lose that feeling of longing. But in the original, this is how it would reflect. It's like the beginning of the class, the end of the class. So is on is holding all this, yeah, all what is happening inside. All that is on. Well, let's carry on. So why not write on with our own letters? The way we chant it in English would be O. I could have done it a bit bigger, but anyway. This O, what is this O? O is a circle, yeah? O reminds us of this original circle. And I mentioned how we connect it to totality, and it's like everything that is, when something is perfect, we associate it to the circle. And something perfect, something complete. Yeah. But we can also associate this O with the void. If this, you remember, we connect those numbers which are add up to 10 are connected, and 10 would be 1 and 0. This is the 0 of the 1. This 1 is all, 0 is nothing. Then this 0 also connects to nothingness. Nothingness. But remember, we are coming from ek, and the two ek and on are going to be connected. And the principle for ek, if you remember, was that all is one, and the virtue was humility, and the humiliation was the virus or the vice. So all is one and humility. Well, if we are all one, everything is complete, but also like the feeling of nothingness, yeah? That's part of me. That's also part of who I am. So it's also connected to me. It's part of me, not like something separate. Let's go to the N. And the N looks quite, I'm going to draw it like this. Look, an N. Energy. It looks like OMG. Very popular nowadays. Okay, Ong. So here we have the polarity of the yin-yang. You see? In the two? So this is the two aspects of the N reflecting on the polarity of the yin-yang. So let's put here yin-yang, polarity. And we can see also how, let's do something else as well. You remember, I was doing this diagram before, 5 in the middle and numbers coming out, but we can also do a diagram where, let's put the numbers like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We could carry on, yeah? 10, 11. Now 5 is in the middle, and here we have this yin-yang kind of thingy. And we also have this kind of yin-yang in the 2. We have this yin-yang in the 8, and even the 11 is kind of like the 8. You know the 8? The 8, you can see the 8 like this. Let me make it bigger. This is the infinite, yeah? I was mentioning the infinite here and the infinite separation from our lover and the beloved. So this is the 8 and the 5 and the 2 and the 11. All these numbers have this polarity aspect to them. And there is a lot in numerology relationship to this, but for now, let's just relate them in some way. So this is Ong, And we're gonna keep on seeing this as we go up. Ek, Onkar, Sat, Nankar, Tapura. We're gonna see how they are connected. Excuse me. We're gonna see how they are connected in going up this path. But for the moment, we're gonna stop here with this diagram. Let's put it like this: just the polarity, yeah, connection to the infinite. All right, let's look at the G. Look at the G is like a spiral, yeah, going down, and you can see it going even further down. This is like the rock, which is going down, down, down into the water, yeah, and G is coming back to a point. Yeah, is going back to the one point of the egg. Is remembering the echo. Yeah, so it's going back to one point. Yeah. This is the echo, and one point is also the seed. Yeah, we can see seeds. Well, maybe we talk about seeds in a minute. All right. So these seeds, what are these seeds? In a way, Mul Mantra is the seed of the whole Sri Guru Granth Sahib. I mentioned in the introduction how it contains the essence of all the Sri Guru Granth Sahib. What is the seed? The seed is something that contains the essence of everything or something else, no, something bigger. And Guru Nanak was somehow the seed of the 10 gurus that came after him, no? And we see that the ek would be the seed of the whole Mul Mantra, no? The one is the seed to all the numbers. In fact, any number that comes afterwards is the previous number plus one. So one is like the fundamental element, the foundation of everything else, is the seed that comes from which comes everything else. So the seed by itself had, when the egg happened, yeah, when the egg comes, is like there is no time. It's atemporal. Because there was no sense of time, because nothing was happening. Everything was one. Everything is one. Nothing is happening. I'm not talking now when the rock touches the water, but even before there is water, it's just a rock. There is just oneness. There is just God. And there is nothing else. That's atemporal. There is no time. The moment that the rock touches the water, the beginning of the universe, as soon as on happens, time comes. And we know from Einstein, time and space are connected, but space is something that is going to manifest much more later, because space needs this three-dimensional world around us. Three-dimension is 3, that's number 3, so that will come in Kar. We will see more about space in Kar. In Ong, with 2, we more than a space, a three-dimensional dimension, we have 2 dimensions, and that is just like a sense of distance in time. How far am I from my beloved? Not so much in space. For the distance to be perceived in space, you need a third point of reference. No, like you are here and the other person is there, and then we have some reference, the context of everything around us to judge the distance between one and the other. Otherwise, you cannot tell the distance. But you can tell the distance in time. Yeah, something is happening within time. So within Ong. In Ong, time appears. And is this sense of long time, yeah? The long wants to get long. Ek was a very short sound. Ong wants to be long. So ek is atemporal, but Ong is along the time. You can find interesting all the verbs in English which refer to something that we are doing along the time, in the time, are verbs that finish with ing, yeah? Saying, drawing, eating, yeah, I'm doing something in the time, within the time. So that's quite interesting as well. I like to see how the words are connected with the sound, yeah, and Ong is this connection. So what else can we say? I think let's carry on with this sense of G as exploring the sound of G, yeah? And I mentioned that I was going to use the what I learned from doing the mantra course, the other course that I have in YouTube, and you can explore that one. And this course is in a way how to put that into practice. So if we go back to this little beautiful book, The Gods in the Word by Margaret Magnus, let's explore the G, yeah, because the ek becomes the G, the ek ong, yeah, the K becomes the G, more than the vowels are, the consonants. So interesting that when we had the K sound, she was talking about, what is it? A container, I remember. Here. It's a container with an opening, yeah? The opening most often has a cover, is carved or crinkly, and is talking about who has the knowledge, yeah? The kings and the clubs and the clans and the covens. So the origin of knowledge, of wisdom coming from here, yeah? And K is a cutting sound. But when we come to the G, this is very, very interesting. Let's read a few of the things that she was saying about the G. And now with all the meditation we have done on Ong, maybe we can find some connections. G centers around motion to and from a void. Wow, incredible. Giving and getting and going. Yeah? In the context of something invisible and vast. Well, if that phrase, which I just brought this book this morning. After all these meditations the last 2 weeks, I just got the book this morning to refresh myself on what she was saying. And I was like, wow, this is exactly it, isn't it? Yeah? The coming and the going and the giving and the getting. And there's this polarity of forces going and coming. And there's these two things happening at the same time. And G is in the very center of it, which is, 5. The 5 in the middle. The 5 in the middle is... The 2 of Ong is connected to the 5 in the middle, yeah? And the 5 that was present already when we were coming from here, yeah? The word. And we are using words, and inevitably, as we are using words, the 5 is going to be here, yeah, in the middle. Another class of G is associated to privation, associated with an experience of vast emptiness or loss. Well, void, yeah? And our longing. And finding the G also in the unlimited bounty of God, grace, goodness, growth, and gladness, yeah? The G aspect of this, yeah? Coming into the G. So, when it comes back, after the whole, after the long journey of Om, when you get to the G point, that's when you get to this Holy Grail, the grace of God, yeah, the goodness coming in, yeah? She mentions how things grow from the ground or go into the grave, yeah? So, and also that 17% of the G words are associated with the gullet, gazel, gobble, gargle, goiter, yeah? So, associated to the throat. So the Ong is reminding us, look, we are in the 2, yes, but this is connected to the throat. We are still connected to the throat. And look, here is the polarity, and we need to find the balance in the polarity, yeah? And this growing from the ground or going into the grave, this we can see that if we look at Ek being the seed and Ong, what would Ong be? In a tree, let's take a plant, yeah? If the Ek is the seed, the Ong are the roots which are going to look for water. Yeah, so they go into the ground, yeah, and they're looking for water, the element of water, Ong, water. So we begin to see how all these things are connecting to each other, and how the very meaning, or let's say that all these words we share these meanings with G, they are already resonating with the G in Ong. Yeah. Are you following along? Are you still here? Do you already click out? If you did, you will not be hearing these words. So if you are, I appreciate your presence. And we are connected throughout the distance. Even though we may feel different, there is a connection between all of us because ek, all is one. So as we are coming into the Ong, the very important thing is that we shouldn't forget that we come from ek and we are connected. Yeah. Let's explore a little story of the second guru, because this is the number 2, so Ong, and Ong Ang, Angad, Guru Angad Dev Ji. So Guru Angad was the second guru after Guru Nanak, and he had a very important role in the development of the Sikh Dharma, and he is well known for a few of the things that he did. One is he formalized the Gurumukhi script, so he made it possible for people who were maybe poor or had little education to have access to the wisdom of the teachings, yeah? Because Sanskrit was very hard to learn, and Gurumukhi would be like a simplification, yeah? The grammar of Gurumukhi, as far as I know, I'm not an expert in any of these things, but as far as I know, he simplified the system so that this would be easier to learn, and he formalized that. So again, Gurumukhi being the word that's 5, how strong is 5 connected to 2? How strong is the number 5 connected to the Ong, and in this case, Guru Angad, yeah? Another thing that he was famous for is he established and developed the principle of langar, yeah, langar, which Guru Nanak already created, and he said very humbly, yeah, number 1, we are all one, let's all eat as equals. Let's get on the ground, in the langar you eat on the ground, and we sit alike, princes and princesses, and paupers and poor people, yeah, all these peace sounds, all on the ground, yeah, and we all eat together. That's something Guru Nanak started, but it was truly Guru Angad who really expanded the idea, and especially with his wife, Matakiri. She was the one who put the biggest effort, and she was always in the kitchen organizing things, and she was quite a famous woman in Sikhism because she got to know 5 of the gurus, and she was even praised. And I believe she's the only woman, the only wife of the gurus who appears in the Sri Guru Granth Sahib. She's praised for the seva that she did, and especially organizing the langar, angar, yeah. And the angar is about feeding the void. It's about feeding the void of the stomach, yeah. It's about giving food, nourishment, and that's connected to the void. It's connected to our needs. It's connected to our necessities, what we need to survive. So, our void, our emptiness, our needs, and how to fill them. And that's so connected also to the aspect of the langar. And then the second guru, his original name was Lehna. There's many stories of him with Guru Nanak and how he became the second guru, because traditionally in all these, in all these traditions, always he was within the blood, like the parents would pass on let's say, the kingdom to their children, right? And it's not like Guru Nanak was a king, but in a way he was a king, yeah, a spiritual king. And he was passing on the mantle of guruship to someone. Who was he going to pass it to? And many people would expect that he would pass to his children. Even his children expected that. But Guru Nanak passed it to Lehna, and there is many stories on how he puts tests to his children, and Lehna is the only one who is passing them all. There's one when he comes home, and there is like 3, how do you say that in English? There is the things that the animals eat, like herbs that have been dried, and then you keep them for the animals to give to eat, the horses, like that. I don't remember now the name for that, but there were like 3 bundles of that, and they were just very dirty, yeah. and he asked somebody to bring them in, yeah, and his children didn't want to do that. They were really muddy and they would soil their clothes. But when Guru Angad came and he heard that the Guru wanted this to be done, immediately he did it. He picked each one of them on his head and he would go and give it to the bulls or the horses. And after finishing, his whole new dress was completely full of mud, yeah, because it was dripping on him. And even, I think it was Guru Nanak's wife who asked, why did you just ask this guy who comes from the outside and with his nice, beautiful clothes, and now his clothes are spoiled? And Guru Nanak said, no, look at him again. It's not mud. It's just like the dots of saffron, like the saffron dots of perfume of his service, of what he has done. And when she looked at him, his clothes were anew again, and they were like perfumed and little dots of saffron on it. So the purity, yeah? How interested that from him obeying the need of his devoid, yeah, the need of his teacher, his master, he retained that purity. No matter what he went through, he was retaining that purity. Remember, we're talking about water. How water can be pure or can be dirty. So Guru Angad, through his act, he was still retaining that purity. No, I remember longing, yeah? Let's keep the emotions pure. Let's take another story from Guru Angad. We're already going to go into 1 hour for the Discord. It doesn't matter. Just want to tell another story. One that is very famous. Many years later, when on the later life of Guru Nanak, I think he was 70 already. He lived to an advanced age, as opposite to Guru Angad, who lived only up to his 48, I think he was when he died, something like that. But Guru Nanak had, he was well established. He had many people coming and visit him. There's langar. There's a lot of things happening around him. I think it's in Kartarpur where he was living. And there was a visitor who came and said, wow, Guru, you must feel really well that you have so many disciples, so many sincere, devoted students. And Guru Nanak said, look again. And he was kind of shocked, like, why? He said, no, look again. You will see, he'll say this phrase, you will see what is devotion or what is simply emotion. He said, come with me, I'm going to show you, yeah? And this phrase, you will see what is devotion or what is simply emotion, that's a phrase that contains this idea, which we practice so much in yoga, about moving emotion to devotion, yeah? Because we come into the teachings with a lot of emotions and commotions, and we need to transform that into devotion, yeah? So Guru Nanak said to the visitor, come with me and I will show you how many do I really have. And he announced, I'm going to go for a sacred holy walk and gather around. And so they all came. And I'm going to tell the story the way I heard it, one version of it. There may be other versions as usual with these stories, but I'm going to tell this story which I like. And as he was inside his house, everybody was gathering. And then as he came out already kind of almost looking a little bit crazy, maybe with a knife in the hand, with two big dogs, like already moving in a very weird way, going straight into the forest. And some people already got, whoa, what's happening? I don't like this mood. And they stayed away. But many people came. And then as they were walking into the woods, some people started to find bronze coins in the ground. And they were like, wow, they gathered as many as they could, and they were heavy, and they were so fortunate to find these bronze coins. They went home to give the coins to their families or to show to other people. And some left, carried on walking, and then they were silver coins. And then some people, oh, silver coins, and they gathered them, and then they went away. Those who stayed, then they can gold coins. Oh, I was happy to stay. Now it's gold. Some people gather the gold and they go away. So there's a number of tests like this. By the end, there's only a few people. I think it was only 2 people. And so Guru Nanak, they come into a clearing in the forest, and there is like a funeral pyre, and there is the body of a dead person covered with a cloth. And it's clearly, by the smell of it, is rotting away. It's really disgusting smell, yeah? A really, really horrible thing. And Guru Nanak says, okay, you, to the disciples, if you want to carry on with me, you have to eat it. And I don't know if it was one or more. I think it was only one left, apart from Lehna. And he's like, what? Like that. The Guru has really gone mad now, no? But Guru Angad immediately, well, Lehna, who would become Guru Angad, no? Immediately said, okay, where do you want me to start from? The feet or the head? And Guru Nanak said, start from the feet. So he went to the feet, a little prayer, and then he opened the cloth. And the moment the veil was lifted, this is like a metaphor for the lifting of the veil in yoga, yeah? As the veil was lifted, there was not a body. It was actually sweet smell and fragrance of flowers and saffron and other spices came up, and it was just prasad. So it was so beautiful. No? And he opened it, he was like, wow, the whole smell changed, and it was prasad. And Guru Angad said, please, master, would you eat first? I will eat what is remaining, yeah? And he offered the food to Guru Nanak. He said, look, you are pure because of your offering others before you take it, and your obedience, yeah? In the Sikhi Wiki, it talks about Guru Angad Dev as an embodiment of obedience and service. Look, service comes because you obey. You cannot serve without obeying. So obedience would be the very first quality that is most important, that manifests in Guru Angad. Actually, his name came from there because the visitor said, wow, Guru Nanak, you're right. Actually, you only have one devotee, one clear disciple, but he is very much like your own body. He's like part of yourself. And that's what Guru Nanak said, yeah, he's part of my body. Angad means a part of my body, a member of my body, like an arm, like my right arm, right? So he is like my right arm. And from now on, he will be called Angad, like that. Ong, yeah? And that would be the right arm of Guru Nanak. There we go. So now we have a beautiful story to go along with this meditation today, but let's finish with the principles and virtues and the virus. Let's remember, in the one, all is one, and humility and humiliation. And when we come to the Ong, I should have reserved some space in the page to do this, but let's write it behind. The principle, it's an extension without separation. Guru Angad was an extension of Guru Nanak. He was an arm of Guru Nanak. He was not separated, because remember, this principle comes as a consequence of the first one. Ek, all is one. Ong, there is a feeling of void, there is a feeling of separation. But actually, even though there is an extension between you and me, there is actually no separation. We are connected. So Ek Ong, and Ong is holding that separation. So look, there is a force in this universe we call Maya, and it creates a certain number of illusory feelings in us. One of them is that we are separated. You see me there in the screen, and I see my computer. Yeah, but because you see me there in the screen and you are where you are, you feel like there is a separation between us. But actually, that's the feeling that we get from seeing this. So that's something that is created by Maya. That feeling is very real, but the illusion is not. So there is no separation. And Ong tells us, look, we are all connected. Yeah, Ek says we are all one. And Ong says, we are just extensions of this one. We are a little extension, but it's part of the same. And if we live our lives according to this, the virtue is that we're going to obey. This is obedience, yeah? Let's put it like this, obedience and loyalty. Yeah, whatever Guru Nanak said, Guru Angad did, obedience. It's pure loyalty. And that means that you have a reference and you're aligned to that reference and you feel that you're an extension without separation of that reference, and you're going to follow the command, follow the hukam, yeah? Follow what is needed, obey, yeah? Loyalty. With, innocently, yeah? Innocence. Because remember that this would be the main one, yeah? Obedience. But innocence is important because of the purity of the water. So as the emotions come up, keeping the innocence. The virus would be when this obedience becomes something like servilism. Not so much servilism. That would be submissive. Yeah, that's the word. Submissive. So remember in the first principle that was humiliation, the virus. So you are feeling so small and you have no value, and maybe instead of innocently, you naively think, oh, I am nothing, I am zero. Yeah, the zero of the void, of the nothingness. That's not ong. That's like the zero only. But if you take it from there, whatever they tell you, yes, you're very submissive and you do it. But that's not really obedience. That's really submission. Yeah. So in the virtue would be obedience, and the vice would be submissive, like this. Virtue, and this would be the virus, submissive and naive. Yeah. All right. So we found the principle, the virtue, and the virus. I hope it was a worth a journey to get there, and the connection through the sounds of ong, and hopefully helping us to transform that emotion into devotion. If this is not the first video you watch, or even the second in this channel, I invite you to subscribe to it. It only takes one click, and it helps this channel to keep growing. And I appreciate you being here and listening to all this and being part of it. Please meditate on car, begin to meditate on car. And if I haven't done the video yet, then put it in the comments, your meditations. And on the next week, when I do the next video, I will read through them and try to include them in the next video. And until next time, thank you very much. Sat Nam.